Councilmember Miguel Villalpando. Councilmember Juan Castillo. Councilmember Marta Gonzalez.
Present.
Member Lorena Delgadillo.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Chona Medell, Finance Director. Tonight in our work session, we will be going over the preliminary budget for Animal Control, Police Department, the CIPs for Police Department, Streets, Water, Wastewater, and CIPs for Public Works. Just wanted to remind Council that this is a preliminary budget review. We do not have a balanced budget as of yet, that this is just preliminary, so to get your recommendations. First up will be Animal Control.
Mayor and Council, good afternoon. Araceli Juarez, Chief of Police. The animal control is run under the police department, so I'll be going over a couple numbers of increases that we have. We don't have a lot of increases for the animal control division. It's a 2% increase, and they're more based on expenses, travel expenses, uniform increase that we've incurred or that are happening, we anticipate will be happening, have been happening this year. And other materials and supplies, which include a couple of things like catch poles, nets, dishes, and equipment that the animal control uses. And we're also asking for recommending an increase in program supplies. And that is cost of supplies, food, and related items to care for the pets in our custody while they're here in the kennels at the city of Somerton. That's pretty much it for animal control.
Any questions or comments? I have a comment. One of the things that came out with our meeting with the Cocopa tribe was about the animal control, and the chairwoman did mention that they would be willing to pay for a service until they get their own. So we can contact them and see if something can be worked out, and especially now with budget, so we can look at that. And she's mentioned it like for the last 2 years, so at least she said that they're willing to work or pay for the service. So we can contact them.
Mayor, we've been in discussions with the city manager, and we have another meeting coming up, I believe this week, to provide you further information on that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Other questions or comments? Thank you.
I have also part number 2 for the police department. You'll see a little bit of an increase. I say a little bit, I know. About a $10,000 increase in overtime wages. And some of those wages I'll explain to you right now. You see another increase in the rifle and ammunition. It has become very expensive, so we're suggesting or recommending an increase in that one, as well as the office supplies. And all this has to do with supply and demand. There's another one for computer and software, a fee increase through Yuma Regional Communication Systems that we partner up with the City of Yuma, City of San Luis, Welton, and that is all data that is ran through our system for gathering and inputting information for police reports. And our radios has increased as well. There's another, we're not asking for an increase. We did a couple changes for the public relations. We haven't been able to spend some of this money because we didn't do the academy this year. We tried doing the summer academy for the adults, and we didn't get a good response on that. So we're trying to see if we can maintain that money to get a better response the following year. And for the overtime wages, we've seen an impact this year. We're still short on staff. We have 7 positions that the council agreed to approve last year. 2 of them are officers that we haven't been able to fill positions for. And then additional 3 came when we send the SROs to the schools. And then there was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions that we're still trying to fill in. We have 1 cadet starting this week in the academy, so that'll bring us down to 6. and we're conducting about 3 background checks on potential candidates. One of the things that I've shared as I presented to you in the past is that when we've done we've been making our best effort to make hires or complete hires, and that's why our overtime is high. I'll give you a quick example. In the last testing that we had about 75 persons that applied. 44 people were contacted and they advised that they would come to the test. We had 6 people that showed up. Of the 6, only 2 people passed a physical test and only 1 passed a written test. And the overtime comes on that one with, we bring additional officers out those mornings that we're doing the testing to conduct the testing. We have to have people that are certified in physical fitness for them to be able to approve a test. We have staff that has to proctor or monitor the testing. It's a 2.5-hour testing. It's a written test. And all those tests we do in anticipation that when they do make it to the academy, and once they pass their background, they'll be able to succeed in the academy. If we don't see that they're able to do the 1.5-mile run or the fitness test or the written test, then it's going to be very difficult for them to make the academy. The other thing is I provided a bit more information to finance and the city manager on some of the overtime that we have incurred with some of these special events. We bring usually from 3 to 9 officers or staff. It could be administrative staff that is running the Pet Palooza with registering people. We have the Greater Days Parade in the morning, the afternoon, and events. So we have different events. They're all city sponsored, and we bring different staff for that. We have been real busy. In the past year, we did have the homicide case towards the end of the year that happened here in the Sunset Clinic. Those were hundreds of hours. I can get the information on the hours that we invested in that one. Jointly inviting other agencies to assist us, like YPD, Human Air Marine, Border Patrol. So we try to make the best to minimize the amount of overtime that we have, but it becomes difficult. This year was a little tough because we had 1 officer that was out 2.5 months on an injury during an arrest. We had another officer that was injured, has recently injured his knee. So he's still on light duty and we're waiting for additional doctor advice. We had 2 officers that had babies, which is great news, but it impacted our schedule. And then we lost two of our officers to the SRO positions. So those are some of the increases in the overtime that you'll see. The other thing is about 50 or higher % of our officers that are employed at the police department are very new. So one of the things that is my responsibility to do is to make sure that these officers not only get the academy training, the field training when they come here, but that they also have continued training that is gonna protect the city from lawsuits and liabilities. They're gonna come, but they're gonna come very rare because we try to provide as much training as we can. The state only requires us to provide the officers 12 hours of training, but that is not enough. We're sending officers to deal with very difficult situations, so we try to make sure that they're attending the full-time trainings that we need to give them. That is all I have at this time, unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions or comments? No, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, oh man, I forgot my CIPs. So the CIPs, the shelter, remodeling of the shelter, we're looking at about $50,000. So what's happening at the shelter is we want to make sure that we provide the city of Somerton residents a good place to secure their animals while they come and pick them up from us, or while we decide to transport them to the Humane Society of Yuma, nobody claims them. We're having we didn't have a maintenance line item for this one. We just created or are going to create it this year. And that line item is going to hopefully cover a lot of the cost of the deterioration of the facility that we have. It's being well maintained because our 2 animal control officers do a great job of keeping it clean, keeping it to standard. So if a dog is missing, usually a dog is missing, and we secure them there, you're going to find them in a real good spot. But we need to make sure that the animals have been tearing on the chain link, and we're trying to make sure that they don't escape from us while they're there and that they're maintained properly. We're going to try to see if we can get cameras out there and other stuff. So that'll be the, for the second item, electronic doors for the public safety building. I realized that the public safety doesn't have a push button like the city hall does right here. And in order to be compliant, we're looking at about $18,500. And it's not in your notes because I'm still getting numbers. But that's the amount of money more or less that I'm looking for at getting quotes to have a button at the front of the station for the primary lobby, secondary lobby, and one for staff in the back. Turf, we're gonna be working on some turf to make the building a little bit more, I'm working with this one with Chief Hernandez to make this so we have a little bit less maintenance and it's kept clean and more vivid to invite the community in. And the fourth one is a pathway leading to Columbia Avenue. So we have a pathway that runs about, I'm gonna say 15 yards, maybe 7 yards, I'm not sure. And it's been there since the building was built in 2007. It's deteriorated. It's made out of like pieces of, I don't know, somebody help me. It's pieces of the stuff that you buy at Lowe's that are concrete pieces and you just lay them out, pavers, yeah, large pavers. So those pavers have deteriorated through time. And we've had to have Public Works go out there and do some maintenance on it, but they're very unlevel. And I'm worried that somebody's gonna trip, somebody's gonna get injured. So we're gonna try to get numbers to provide you so we can get that completely replaced with a whole slab of cement. And the parking land, that I'm working with the city manager and Saul and the fire chief, try to see if we can work something into getting additional parking for the public safety building. And the last one is we're gonna try to run this through our grant that we have, some side proxy doors, so car doors to be able to open the building every time that we have a staff member leave. Not all the time, but when there's a concerning situation, then we have to make sure that we change the locks or we change the keys. And that hardly ever happens, but we've had it happen in the past. So we believe that proxy doors would make it a lot easier for us to go in and out. The other issue is as we're coming into the building and we have a hot situation, we want to make sure that we're able to access the building quicker than the key. So that's all I have.
Any questions or comments? Well, I have a comment. We're talking about budget and we don't have any numbers, so if we have an item that we don't have any numbers, I think we can skip it and talk about it in the next meeting. So if we're gonna, so I don't want to see a budget with no budget numbers. So.
Understood, Mayor. Any other
Any
questions?
other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Charles Gutierrez, Public Works Director. Tonight I'll be going over the streets first. On 216115, education and training, we are upping this from 2,000 to 6,000 due to we're going to be looking to 2 new drivers to get in their CDL and to taking more people to roads and streets this year. Last year, we felt that I took the street supervisor and he thought it would be really, really beneficial to have some of his crew go to this right here to learn a little bit more on some of the new implementation of products out there and different ideas concerning streets. On the travel side of it, 216117, this is in retrospect to the roads and street for the 5 employees and for the travel and lodging. On 216121, which is repair and maintenance of equipment. We've upped this one up just a little bit from 23,000 to 25,300 because of the Craftco sealer. We're going to be doing a little bit of work on the Craftco sealer and the jackhammer. We need to do just a little bit of extra work onto them, which will give us a little bit better pavement, crack sealing, and different things like that. And then we will go to line item number 216127, which is gasoline and oil. Just so you know, this one here is going to be readjusted. It is going to work out fine on this one here. We just need to get everything corrected. And then we're working with that with Chona on balancing that side of it out on the gasoline and oil. On the 216143, which is the pavement preservation at we had 170,000 budgeted for this year. We're looking to up it up approximately 10%. We've already talked to American Paving and Holbrook pavement companies They're looking to possibly raise these up again about 10% just because of the oil prices. But it's up in the air still right now, how it's going to look for future conditions for oil. On the 216149 signs. So this is one of the things that I was asked to do here, to start making our signs in the city look a little bit more presentable, take the faded ones and make them a little bit more presentable. And so we are going to, Raul and I and the street supervisor and I will be looking at the street inventory on all the signs and picking the worst ones and start upgrading everything as we move along each year. In the contingency side of it, we are looking to up at $20,000. This will allow us to, any work that we have on any CIPs, for example, like Somerton Heights and different things like that, projects that typically have cost overruns, we're looking to take care of those without having to dive deep into some of the operational budgets. On the 216153, which is a capital outlay, this is a collaborative work that we do with the Yuma County pavement preservation. This is the same thing on this one here. It's approximately a 10% increase. However, we're also looking at this one here because we do have an HSIP project that's going into effect right now, that's going in from Avenue G from County 11th to 16 or Main Street. ADOT has said that there's some issues with the pavement condition. So they're looking to do a complete reseal, a chip seal of the entire segment. So our portion of it will be from County 15th Street to Main Street. And we're gonna be looking to do a complete chip seal on that one there at the recommendation of Yuma County. And that concludes it on to the street side. Any questions?
Questions, comments?
Just one question, Mayor. On the first item, it's gonna be, gasoline, I'm sorry. You said it's gonna be decoded or?
Oh, on the gasoline? Yes. Good. I'll let Jonas take care of this one.
So on the gasoline, it's the allocations of the gasoline. So previous to me coming into finance, the allocation was put into one line item, which was the streets line item. The allocations weren't divvied up correctly throughout the city. We are in works with Charles. They give us a monthly statement on the usage of gasoline. So we're in the works of doing a journal entry to recode that. So you'll see that the actuals to date are 65,000. That is for the citywide
So all the
allocations.
departments.
So all the departments were going to one line item. So we are doing a proper allocation in order to do that.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Thank you. We'll move on to the water. Onto the water, we're looking at line item 507115. Again, this is the education and training. I talked with the supervisor and he would love to be able to participate in what's called the Tri-State Conference, which is designed for a lot for the water and the wastewater. He would like to take him and his crew leader to this. And I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for them to learn a little bit more about the entire system. Also, at the same time, we have Leo, the supervisor, and a couple others that need to get renew their certificates. One grade 4, a grade 3, and a grade 2. And that's why we're upping this up to from 1,500 to 3,200. On line item 507117, which is the travel, this is in retrospect to the ADEQ and the Tri-State Conference. On line item 507118, which is the dues and subscriptions, this is basically the Yuma County water users and the Bureau of Reclamations, the amounts they charge us for the conversions, and Bureau of Reclamation has us do some permits and stuff like that. On 502123, which is repair, maintenance, of sidewalk grounds. This has never had a line item on there, and talking with the supervisor, one of my questions was, why not? I says, once you get to a project and you start a project, you should be able to complete it up to a certain point. Some of the stuff that we're asking the water supervisor to do is minor concrete, minor pavement coal patch. We provide the coal patch that we get from Yuma County, and we're asking him to be able to come over and maybe do some small minor concrete work on some of the sidewalks in the areas that he works on. The next one again is the 507127, which is the gasoline and the oil, which will be fixed as Chona alluded to. On 507129, which is the utilities. APS is doing a 12% increase, so you'll see a nice little jump in the pay on the price tag right there. And jumping all the way down to the bottom, which is 507148, which is the chemicals. I'm talking with Hills Brothers. They're possibly looking to do about a 10 to 15%, but he says possibly just a 10%, which is also for the wastewater too. So we're going up from 85 to the 93,500. And then one of the last items that I have tonight to present for the water division is 507158, which is water meters. We are upping this one up to from 15,000 to 16,500, just because of the new developments that are happening. The water meters, we need to buy new water meters for everybody. And that concludes the water side of it. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
On number 507140, insurance and bond, there was a big jump from 95 to 128. Yeah.
Sorry, that's the liability insurance overall throughout the city, and then it's allocated to different areas. So our liability insurance went up. We anticipated it's gonna go up, because it usually goes up anywhere from 10 to 15%. So it'll go up, and then it'll be allocated into the different, departments, correct?
On the repair and maintenance of water line, to actuals is around 1,700, but we budgeted 15,000, and then the proposed is another 15,000.
I'm sorry, Mayor, which one is that?
On what was it 241? 241, yeah.
The good number on this.
5071 241. What was it? No, it's 24.
24.
Yeah.
Yes, so what we're doing here, one of the things that they hadn't been doing was they were just taking the other line, looking at other repairs and stuff like that, and not allocating it correctly to the correct line items. I am telling my supervisors across the line that as we move forward and we're working with the finance to look at balance our budgets out, we're asking them to make sure they code them correctly. So if there is a water line break, for example, the one that happened on Cesar Chavez wasn't coded here correctly. We're going to be looking for my supervisors to code them correctly. If it's a water line break, let's call it a water line break, and let's not call it other different categories and things like that. So.
Yes.
And I think that's good, Charles. You know, even if you go up that line item, for the next year, you need to up that line item, even though you still at the end is the whole budget, but at least you know which line item is going up, so you can budget from that, even though you still got the others to make up.
Correct.
Be careful, but I think that's good. What you guys trying to do is put it what it's supposed to be, and if not, do the journals or. So
Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
The next one we will talk about is wastewater. Again, we will start at 517215, which is education and training. Last year, we sent 2 employees to Tri-State. Supervisor asked if we could send possibly 3 to the Tri-State training, and also ADEQ training with 1 person for the CDL. On the uniform allowance side, this one is being up just somewhat. It was not tallied correctly. We're going to go over budget on this one here. Henceforth, we're moving it and adjusting it to the correct numbers. If you look towards the side on the description, it shows that the boots at 7 of them for $1,050. The uniform average price is $515 a month, which totals out to $6,180. And the end total with the boots totaled is 7230. On the travel side of it, which is 517217, this is in retrospect to the tri-state and ADEQ training in Phoenix. On the 517218, just so you know, I'm not changing the budget line item on that one. However, I am telling my supervisors, requesting my supervisors and members of staff to start becoming members of the different water societies, the ADWR, ADEQ, and different things like that. That way they can become a little bit more knowledgeable in the different things that go on in the water side and wastewater. The next one is 5172-2014, which is the repair maintenance of sewer lines. So let me back up one. I'm sorry. That's 5172-21, which is repair and equipment, the maintenance and equipment. We're taking that one from the current year of 95,000 to 104,000 because we are going to be looking at repairing some of the motors, the lower blower motors that don't cost as much, but there's a lot of them out there. And just looking at to upgrade some of the things. Not a whole lot for like CIP work, but 500 here, 1,000 there, little smaller items like that. On the 5172-24, which is the repair and maintenance sewer lines. This is similar to what was happening in the water. They were using the other line items and not coding them correctly. And talking with Jose at the supervisor at wastewater, we've gotten things a little bit better where we are actually coding correctly now. So this is going to be one of those ones that's going to probably take a small minor hit on it, but I don't think so. I think that it's going to balance out almost perfect at the end of the year. On 5172-26, which is repair and maintenance of the vehicles. This is basically to make sure that we keep our vehicles up online, the vehicles that are there. The one in particular that we're looking at is basically the camera truck. Needs a little bit of help. This is something that was an ambulance at one time. We've converted it over into our camera truck. We're looking to maybe put a small generator on board onto it. That way it can be self-sustained and a little bit better. That way you don't have to rely on other things to bring in more. The last one we'll talk about is the 5172-29, which is utilities. Again, this one is going to go up because of the 12% increase with APS. It's going to go from 150,000 to $197,046. My mistake. On the last page here on the chemicals, which is 5172-48 on the chemical side. This is again talking to Hill Brothers. They're looking possibly doing a 10% increase. So it's going to go up from 110,000 to 121,000. And that pretty much concludes my presentation on the wastewater.
I'm sorry, can you clarify again, Chona, on the utilities? I know you said it was going to be allocated by department, but 197,000 just for, or is it going to be divided or?
No, the utilities are allocated correctly. That is for the plant itself.
Okay.
This runs 24/7, doesn't stop. It just goes.
Yeah, and the lift
Yeah, and the lift
stations as
station,
well.
yes.
Mayor, if I may. I just want to point out that we are working and we will be bringing to council next month or so on the options for the solar to help us with this. And we're hoping that next year we'll be able to implement it with an RFP and hopefully reduce our electrical needs anywhere from 800,000 to $1 million. So that's something we're going to be bringing to you. I finally got some information that Mayor and Council wanted, and I hope that we can move forward on that, just to give you an update. Because it is expensive to run all the plant, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
And my final presentation here for tonight will be on the CIP. You have to excuse me, I have to read a smaller one here. On the HERF side of it, the streets, Again, this is the, going to be looking at a rollover of the West Main Street Pathway Solar Light Replacement. We talked with a couple of the contractors and they're saying that it's going to be, I don't have enough money to do this project. I'm going to need to up it up just a little bit. I'm looking at the average of what everyone has talked to me about. We've kind of took a halfway middle point on this and upped it about $55,000, about $55,000. Somerton Heights Phase 2, we've already had the letter of intent when we had the public meeting. This one is going to be for the final phasing of it, of Somerton Heights Phase 3 at $1,656,785. The Somerton traffic signal left turn downtown redevelopment at the Circle K. This one is an appropriations one. This is for the $1,377,320. The Main Street redevelopment, which we're in talk about that right now, we do have a $1 million for on apportionments. We're looking to reduce the scope of work on the current redevelopment design. I'm going to be taking this back to Core Engineering for further redesign and reducing the scope. On the pavement preservation for the rural roads for Yuma County, in 24, it was 85,000. Again, this is one of those ones that just because of the oil and the nature of the beast, they're looking to increase the price tag on it. So we looked at this very carefully and working with my senior tech engineer, we came up with a logical number, which was 93,500. On the State Avenue Street improvements, this is another one that we're still looking to try to get some type of a grant or appropriations through the feds or the state at $2.1 million. A new service truck for the fleet. This year, we decided not to utilize the $4,200 in 24. We're looking to roll that over to include a new $4,200 for the 25 for $8,400. Just on the HERF side of it, on the streets department, and you'll hear me talk about that in the other ones where we're splitting this up 3 different ways, $8,400 into my divisions. Looking to acquire a new dump trailer similar to the black ones that have been that were purchased a couple years back. Also on Spring Street on the Paracone Park Design and Construction, $500,000 of grant monies. Water cooler for the shop. The guys at the shop have been talking to me this past year. And although they do have some small portable, actually they're large portable coolers, they're very, very concentrated only for one little area. We're looking to put a cooler, swamp cooler, a big one over the top and drop them down onto the bays themselves. That way it's an overall cooling, and then they can use the smaller coolers to give some little spot cooling as they move around. We're looking to revitalize the Somerton utility rate study. We're also looking at the Bobcat skid steer high volume pressure pump. So one of the things that happened during the COVID monies that came through, a Bobcat was purchased, 2 of them. And one of the things that they got a really good deal on them. However, we need one of them to be able to have attachments to it. For example, like the grinder, so we can come back and use the Bobcat to grind off certain portions of the street or grind concrete and things like that. It's not designed for that. It's designed just to be just like a little front end loader and dump it into the dump trucks and move on and go. We're looking to add to it, changing the pumping and stuff like that into it. And it'll give us that, be able to go to San Luis and borrow their equipment or purchase new equipment in the future. Again, we have at the very bottom, we have County 15th Street and Avenue D crest curve correction on ADOT HSIP project. That one is going on currently right now. There's no anticipated funds for 25, but there will be for 26. Again, this is a Somerton Heights Phase 3, looking at the CDBG amounts of 500,000 and Spring Street at 500,000. Any questions on the street side of it, her side?
On the dump truck, what is that for the, is it dump, no, it was trailer?
The dump trailer?
Yeah, what is that gonna be?
We
used
use
for?
those for hauling stuff, a lot of it more for the annual cleanup. Rather than using the big dump trucks and stuff like that, this allows us to be able to be more mobile, more getting in and out of the alleys, moving things in and out as faster. It puts us on a level playing field across the line. That way we don't have to run the big, huge 15-ton dump truck around and waste a lot of gas and stuff like that.
So it would come out at the, out of the HERF fund and not out of the sanitation fund, or? Because we're talking about
Right now, Mayor, you know,
allocating where it needs to.
so this is one of those ones that we haven't come up with a budget for the full sanitation side. We do use the street side for that side of it. Most of the sanitation in the streets share the same equipment, except for the refuse truck, the garbage truck.
Because we do have an enterprise fund for sanitation,
Correct, we do.
not for HERF. I know HERF monies are limited, so.
I'll address that with Chona, and we'll come up with a budget for that side of it on the sanitation side.
Charles, that's the one with the piston, right?
What's that?
The trailer, that's the one with.
Yes, it lifts up. Yeah, it lifts up. Yes.
Thank you.
On the wastewater, we'll move on. So right now, we have the wastewater, the SCADA and the PLC replacement upgrade. We are looking to, working with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure a $550,000 grant from U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. In the previous CIPs, there was a turbo blower. We're actually taking that 75 horsepower and taking it to a 50 horsepower. Talking with the supervisor and with Pace Engineering, it would be overkill for us to go anything bigger than what we have right now. So we're looking just to basically get something that's going to be keeping with the same system rather than trying to upgrade and trying to do something more than what we have. Because if we go with something bigger, it means that we're going to have to start changing a lot of things down the line. So if we keep things at the same thing, we don't have to change a whole lot of things. And when it's time to build for the new future for something, then we don't have to, it'll be something on a new CIP, a new loan or something like that, or a new WIFA loan or something. Looking to do the odor control. Again, this one is working with Pace Engineering, trying to get something a little bit more stable, a little bit more cost effective. However, we're still looking at the $190,000. One of the things that's going on down there at the wastewater is up on top of the headworks building. It has a metal roof. One of the things that happens is H2S, hydrogen sulfide, eats up a lot of things. It's starting to deteriorate the roof. It's starting to, every morning as the guys come in, there's little flakes all over the ground. We're looking to a paint company maybe that we can encapsulate the roof for at least a couple, 2-3 more years, and then do a CIP. But if they tell us that we can't, and it's better to do it this way, then we might have to rearrange our CIP list to accommodate the new roof over there. But that's more to come within the next month. The guys, wastewater is asking for a new truck with a crane. The one that they have is a good service truck, which would be great for the shop. However, the crane itself is becoming inefficient. It's going to start costing us mega dollars, and we use this one for the lift stations to pull out the tubes and to make any repairs and all the repairs down in the tubes and different things like that at the wastewater plant itself too. Also at the wastewater plant, there's a water cooler over the shop that needs to be repaired or replaced. There's a blower digester, a 25 horsepower blower digester for $50,000. We need to do something with the mechanical bar screen for $45,000. This is something that was an engineering nightmare. The H2S is eating it up. We're working with the Pace Engineering to come up with alternatives. to help with the bar screen. However, at this point right now, because of the high H2S in one side, we're trying to figure out other solutions that would, before we go spend, you know, $40,000, $50,000 and put a new thing there and it eats it all up. We want to make sure that we do our due diligence all the way down the line to find out and address what the issue is. Again, this one here is the Somerton utility rate plan. This is split up between the three divisions, $60,000 total price. With wastewater, it's a $20,000 ticket here. Again, this one here is on the new service truck for the fleet. This one was one of the ones that this year had a $4,200. We're looking to roll it over and make it $8,400 for the shop. And this one again was the water cooler for the shop. Looking at the three divisions, helping the shop out at $5,000 on this side of it. Again, this one at the bottom there on the grant side of it is the SCADA and the PLC replacement upgrade for U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Section 595 grant. We're also looking to possibly, the supervisor has requested an operator because we've been using the Arizona at Work person. We just lost him. However, he completed a team of 2 guys that went around on the collection side of it, going from lift station to lift station. And he was also learning the new plant, or not the new plant, the plant operations, running labs and actual operations of the headworks and different things like that. So we're looking to replace someone, but we understand if we can't, we'll make do with what we have. Any questions on the wastewater?
Any questions or comments? Councilwoman?
So you're mentioning that the individual that was through Arizona at Work. So you have no positions available that you can retain him since he already
No, ma'am.
knows? There's no open positions in your department?
We have one, but it's not, how can I say it? There's not one slated for it. We would like to open up a new position for this person. It would complete the teams in 2x2x2s. And that way the guys who go out, they can complete the jobs without having to call another team down.
So all your departments are full. You have no vacancies.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
They want to come, yeah, I don't know about that one. On the water side, the water one is, again, this is a Somerton Heights Phase 3 at $1,656,785. More to come on that one as we learn more about the CDBG process and what we get. And then we will reduce scope. And if we have to make a Somerton Heights Phase 4, then we will make a Somerton Heights Phase 4. Looking at the water plant, tank number 2 is going to be needing immediate replacement this year in the 25. Water supervisor is looking to replace a truck or to add a truck with for the standby services on the e-services side of it. The truck that they're using is pretty well utilized, has a lot of miles. It's going to start costing too much, but it's working. It works. We're looking at possibly doing a design with the water line replacement that was up there at the Orange Grove. This was something that the Yuma County had already done. They did a water replacement up there and attached all the water lines so that for the new water line that came down. We're looking to actually, in talking with county, we're looking to actually do a redesign and take the water lines where the meters are at and put them onto the streets. Because one of the things that's happening right now is the new sewer line that's coming from the force main that's coming from the Rancho Mesa Verde, Orange Grove. It's going to be coming down US 95, tying in through Bingham all the way down to the Garvin lift station and shooting to our system. This is in the process right now. They've been doing the drilling already, the boring, looking for the lines at the depths and the geotechnical side of it. So this is going to be one of those things that we're going to need to, this is the perfect timing to relocate the water meter sides into the streets so we don't have to constantly go to the property owners and try to get access to the meters. And again, this one is the Somerton Heights, or correction, the Somerton utility rate plan, $60,000 for a total package and $20,000 onto the water side of it. And this one here is Somerton Heights Phase 2, looking for $500,000 of, or Phase 3 of the 500,000 of the CDBG. And Spring Street, Paracone Park. We'll be opening that up. And that pretty much concludes it. Mayor, council, any questions, comments?
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Mayor and council, that concludes all the divisions and departments for today.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? No? Just have a comment. I didn't see it, and maybe it's in a separate CAP, but the what was mentioned from council during the year was on the pathways and also the xeriscapes for retention basins. So hopefully we see it there when the budget is presented. And,
If I may, Mayor, we will have some CIP updates and you will see those on there.
Any other comments for council? 6:49, meeting's adjourned.